Hey everybody, my name is Charlie Worthley. Welcome to the Ponyville Cider Fest 2019 Attendee Feedback Livestream. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I'm having to use some new software for the first time, and I'm a little unfamiliar with it, so I'm just going to wait for some confirmation that I can be heard by everyone. And before I get going here, hey everybody in the chat room. Okay, they see me. That's a good thing. And they hear me. Great. Okay. Awesome. Cool. So, so those of you who have seen these streams before may be familiar with the fact that normally we have other people on the stream with us in terms of managers and directors and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, YouTube discontinued the Hangouts on Air functionality I used to use to do that, and I haven't found a comparable solution. So it's just going to be me. Some of the managers might be popping up in the chat. I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat myself. Yeah. So hey everybody who's watching. Looks like I got a couple dozen people watching. So thanks everybody for joining us. Raise the volume, please. Let me see if that's something that I can do here. Doot doot. I'm not sure that I can do that. You might just need to turn up your speakers. Your beard looks pointy. Yes, I didn't straighten it today. Anyways, to those, so I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat as far as questions and everything is concerned. Unfortunately, the screen sharing in this, I've never used OBS before. I'm trying to use it this time, and the screen sharing is not working. Just like a black box comes up, so I don't know what's up with that. Anyways, answering questions the best I can. Discord doesn't work because I want it to be available to view later. Doughboy, Josh Dudley, yes, this will be available to watch later via YouTube, and so on and so forth. But anyways, if you have a question, if I miss it, please just re-ask it. And especially at the end, I'll do a roundup and check for questions. Yeah, so this is going to be a little less slick than we normally do it here. But so yeah, basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about the attendee feedback that we got in the survey about Ponyville Cider Fest 2019. So what I'm going to do is I'm pulling up the results here. So yeah, generally people were pretty pleased with the convention, and that's always good to know. Let's see. While I'm waiting for this to load on my phone, let's see. Just kind of checking in on the chat, see what everybody's saying. Charlie needs to do his beard the same way Michelle did her hair. Oh, multicolor, like I just did it. That'd be funny. Let's see here. I'm pulling up the results of the survey on my phone so I can like hold it up to the screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about, just because the screen sharing is not working. Again, going to be super not very slick and smooth this time around. So sorry about that. Come on, load. It's a long survey. Charlie could pull off of being a really good Santa, I think. Maybe. Come on. Should have had this up before I started the stream. Sorry about the delay. So yeah, how's everybody doing? Once again, thanks for hanging out with us. Really appreciate you guys being interested enough in the feedback to give up some of your Sunday evening. I'm not sure how many of you have the Green Bay Packers Seattle game on in the background, like I currently do. I'm not watching it. Michelle's watching it. I'm not a football person, but Michelle is. So while we're watching, if you hear like some randomly shouted like curse words or swearing or screaming or excitement noises from that side of the room, not that you can tell what side it's from the video, but it'll be from over on that side. Trust me, that'll be Michelle, because something happened in the football game. Anyways. Come on, survey. Okay, cool. Here we go. So, probably the most important question overall, what is your general opinion of Ponyville Cider Fest 2019? So we got 144 responses, which is just over the 10% mark that I like to have for feedback. We had 1,369 was the final attendee count number, if I remember correctly. And so of those respondents, of the 144 respondents, 58% gave it a 5 out of 5. 55% gave it a 4 out of 5. 4 people gave it a 3. And then there's a single person who basically went through and gave the most negative response possible on every single question on the survey. So basically a troll response. I left it in there just because I don't want to, like, even though it's not a real response, I left it in there anyways. But yeah, so camera focus. So yeah, there you go. General opinion of Cider Fest 2019. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with those numbers. You certainly can't please everyone, but you know, I'll certainly take that. You know, when over, let's see, 58, when over, well, over 90% of people gave it either a 4 or 5 out of 5. I mean, that's pretty darn good. In terms of value of the badge that you purchase, 109 people, 75% gave it a 5, 30 gave it a 4, 4 gave it a 3, about the same ratios there for the value of the badge. And then you've got our one little grumpy Lone Star down at the bottom. And then panel options. The optimal answer for this question is for it to be right in the dead center. We don't want to have too many options because that's sort of a good problem to have in a way, but it's also kind of an issue where, you know, if we have too much going on, I kind of feel like from a planner perspective, that almost means that we don't need to offer that much because, you know, there was way more than people, you know, could have possibly ever wanted to see. So maybe we could have less panels so people don't have to choose as much and can kind of make, you know, have less choices to make and can, you know, kind of see more stuff. So yeah, having the highest number be right in the middle there is pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that. And then the same thing about variety here. You know, having a good variety, like not just all the same panels, like not only game show panels, not only discussion panels, you know, having a good variety is important there. So I'm pretty happy with that spread too. And then, the panel quality, you know, it's good to have a lot of panels, but they got to be good panels. 4 is a little bit higher than 5, so we might need to take a look at some of the panels in the individuals so that maybe we're not, have to take a look and see why people may have given an over, not why 5 wasn't the highest in terms of the quality. Not sure why that would be. I haven't dug in, you know, very much to see individual panel results. Side note, panelists, if you hosted a panel at Cider Fest, after this is over, you can contact me over Discord, and I can let you know what the scoring was, and if there were any, comments directed towards your specific panels. You know, I won't make the complete results of that, you know, available for everybody, but I'll let you know what people said about your specific panel. You might need to ask me a couple times, because I'm just perpetually swamped. But feel free to keep asking me, and I will get it to you. Yeah, so that's sort of the general response to things, and I'm pretty happy about that. Here, let's take a look at the comments and see what's going on. Excuse me. Let's see. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. What's up with his eyes? I don't know. What is up with my eyes? Let's see. Yeah, there's always going to be, you know, one of those people that just have to, you know, and it's funny too, because it's like this particular person went through and they gave the most negative response. They didn't like any of the voice actors. They didn't, or any of the guests of honor. They didn't like any of the musicians. They didn't like any of the community guests. They say they were only there on Sunday, even though we know that they weren't. They were there other days, but they didn't care about anything that was happening on Sunday. They literally, the only thing that they said that they enjoyed was they went to one game of Are You a Changeling? Which, to be fair, it's a great game. So if there's going to be any one thing, that's not a bad thing to pick. But still, they hated the vendor hall. They literally hated everything except they liked the one game of Changeling that they went to. And they liked the Hyatt, but literally everything else they said that they hated, and they want their money back. It's just like, but you didn't want to see any of the things we were having in the first place, so why did you come? Like, what were you doing? If they were even there. I mean, it's entirely possible they weren't really there and it was a troll, so who really knows? Let's see. Yes, I know who the person is. Actually, yeah, I do know that they were there, and I'm not interested in them returning. So if they ask, I will be happy to let them know that. I don't foresee them coming back, but well, let me. Yeah. Anyways, let's see. Cornbread. Somebody likes cornbread. Let's see. Anyways, okay, so what I'm now going to do is I'm just going to parse through some of the answers just to kind of like touch on some of the things that I see as being common responses to some of the discussion questions. So, for example, what was your most favorite thing about this year? Yeah, I'll just kind of name off some of the things that I see. Katrina was great. Kelly Sheridan was great. Really like the guest of honors this year, bringing some first timers to the con. Always love to do that. Absolutely. Claire. Naham, if your favorite thing about the convention wasn't even something that Cider Fest had anything to do with, that's okay. I'm glad you had a good weekend. Panel lineup, Black Griffin concert, spending time with friends, that's always on here a lot. Michelle is currently flailing wildly at the football game. Apparently something exciting is happening. Here's a longer response. I like the longer responses, people that type out a little bit more. Again, this is most favorite thing. Honestly, just the overall feel of the con. There's a ton of stuff to do, but you don't get FOMO, which for those who are not familiar with the acronym is fear of missing out. If you want to do something, you can do it without much hassle. If you don't, you can just hang out and people watch. So great. Let's see. Francis Vase was called out. That's great. I've got the person who liked the After Dark vendor hall. That's cool. Vendor hall. Claire on the bottle share. Excellent. Somebody here's a longer one. The dedicated My Little Karaoke setup in the Cider Lounge, or Trotters, I assume they mean. I know it's run like a panel by a dude and his friends, but the con providing a proper space and equipment for it makes for a much better experience. I hope he continues to run it well into the future and that the con continues to support it. I know some of those hosts are watching the stream right now, so you guys are appreciated, and I echo those sentiments very much. Another call out for karaoke. I think there was another one earlier too. Katrina Salisbury and Claire Corlett. The vast quality and variety of panels this year. The schedule was perfect for me personally to allow for plenty of downtime and enough to keep me involved. Perfect. That's a great answer. Let's see. Watching the series finale together. That's awesome. First timer says they love the cider tasting. That's always a great event. And lots of comments about the guests of honor being great. Several comments for Buckball being a favorite, so that's cool. Toss up between anything Hooves line, Are You a Changeling, and Silver Quills showing Josh and Ari's wedding at his booth. Yeah, that was really cool. So that's awesome. Another call out for Naham, a couple call outs for the gala. Yeah, no, great responses. Getting to meet Big Jim Miller, storyboard artists and VAs. Yeah, excellent. So, it's great to hear what people loved, but it's almost more important to hear what people did not like. So, this question is, what is your least favorite thing about this year? Nothing. It had to end. I love these responses. But let's look for a couple things that have a little more to them. Let's see. Unavoidable schedule clashes and compromises. Michelle's very excited. She's literally jumping up and down at whatever happened right now. Okay, pre-reg was a bit of a cluster, especially this year, which is a real shame. Yes, I will absolutely cop to this. Pre-reg this year was not what we wanted it to be. We had tried to formulate a better plan for having a smoother pre-reg, and it did not come together like it was supposed to due to some communication breakdowns internally with staff. So that is entirely on us. I've already talked to Michelle, who's going to be helping me out in a more significant role with the cons going forward. And we will be having a much more detailed plan and organization and everything with pre-registered Cider Fest going forward. I hate it when that happens. And every year I think we've got it solved, and then every year we don't. And so this year it became very clear that what we have been trying has not been doing the way to do it. So we are going to the people in charge of Reg, and not even just a department head, but all the way up to the top, myself included, will be having a much stronger role in making sure that it's figured out this year, because I'm done seeing it in the mess that it's been every single year. And so pre-reg at Cider Fest next year, one way or another, so help me God, will be fixed. I know I've probably said that before, but all I can do is tell you that this for me is different, because this year was very frustrating to see. So like more so than usual, because like I say, the communication breakdowns were disappointing for me that happened. So anyways, Reg, we are aware, and we hope to fix it. Taking a glance over to the chat. Bottle share, beer share was awesome. Somebody said, well, I was wondering what happened to the karaoke stage lighting we had previously. That was specifically there for the music festival theme that we had last year. That was the only year that we had it, and so that's why we didn't have it again, is because setting all that up for a single event is just a lot of work on the AV team, and so that's why it wasn't there this year. We had multiple panels using it when we had the music festival theme going on, but that was an exception. Let's see. My least favorite thing was that the vendor hall was closed long before the charity auction. That wasn't supposed to be the case, actually. That's not right. That's not correct. It wasn't supposed to be. This year, because of the early end time to the convention, the vendor hall was actually supposed to be open after the charity auction ended for 30 minutes, but because of the convention because of things running late on Sunday for various reasons, the charity auction and closing ceremonies got pushed forward due to things that we just could not control. But the vendor hall still needed to close when it was scheduled, because we needed to be out of that room at a certain time, so we couldn't extend that as well. But it was actually supposed to be open a half hour after closing. But it was definitely not closed before the charity auction started. So I'm not sure where there's some confusion there on that one. Let's see. Rocket Prime, I thought pre-reg went pretty well. I'm glad you say that, but there was a situation where, like, just as an example, the sponsors are supposed to have a dedicated line to be able to one of their perks for having a sponsor package is a dedicated pre-reg line, and it was not put in a good spot, and so that had to be moved around, and like that caused some like a kind of a mess. And then there were supposed to be more stations. Essentially that's what it came down to. There were supposed to be more check-in stations, and it was not supposed to be back in the window. It was supposed to be out where the registration ended up being on Friday, like with the tables out, so that we could have more stations. And that didn't happen. Just again because of a communication breakdown. And so the more stations would have allowed us to check in more people quicker, and especially affecting people that needed to go on the pub trot. What I don't want to have to do is pull those people out of line so that they can go on the pub trot, because that's not fair to everyone else. But it's a rock and a hard place situation. I do want them to be able to, it's important that the pub trot leave on time, because they're on a schedule and like venues are expecting them at certain times. So delaying that causes more problems than, it's the better of two bad decisions to pull the pub trot people out of registration so that they can check in first. It sucks for the people that we're waiting, potentially we're there first but aren't on the pub trot. Anyways, we're gonna fix it. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Can we get some type of this is from 1964 Corvan. Can we get some type of easier, fairer for when badges and tickets go on sale, because it was a mad rush and everything sold out with minutes or hours? So it sounds like you want more notice as to when things are going to be going on sale. I think the fact that they sold out so quick is evidence that we gave everybody enough notice, because everybody was ready, sitting at their computers, ready to buy everything. If we hadn't told people, then it would have taken longer for them to sell out, I think. Yeah, I mean that's just going to be the nature of things. So just going forward, just make sure that you're following our social media channels. I did send out an email to everyone through Eventbrite, and we did post on our Facebook and our Twitter. We had like a countdown, I think, on the website. So yeah, just it pays off to pay attention to our email list and our social media and all that. If you want a chance of getting a sponsor badge, and that's just going to be the way it's going to be. It looks like for Cider Fest, they're just going to sell out real quick. Let's see. Okay. Anyways, back to some responses here. Okay. The season pass event was a waste of time since the event at the Hilton was basically a bigger version of the same event. I do understand that things randomly were not supposed to overlap. So yes, the overlap was unavoidable, a conflict that was not supposed to happen. However, the season pass event did have an open bar, so that would be the big difference there. Yeah, they weren't supposed to overlap, so yeah. Let's see. Too short con needs to be longer. I think my staff would rag and quit if I tried to make it a 4-day. No, I'm sorry. I brought that idea up once about making a 4-day con, and I think people did threaten to quit. So yeah, it will only be 3 days. Let's see. Again, we're talking about least favorite things this year. Too fancy food at the sponsor dinner. That is a curious thing. I'm not quite sure how to process that. It was just like a Thanksgiving dinner. I'm not sure what. I mean, like the sponsor dinner, like sponsors pay a lot for that. So I don't imagine they would just want burgers and fries. So, a person who said too fancy food at the sponsor dinner, if you're watching this, please elaborate in the chat because I'm curious to know what you mean by that. Elevator waits, yes. Well, that in that venue is unavoidable, but hopefully will not be a problem anymore. I'll probably get to that at some point. I'll talk about the Hilton a little bit. Let's see. Least favorite thing, the con store, but no. At least here, no elaboration was given. So I'm not sure what the issue was. If there was a wait issue or what. Early Sunday end. Yeah. The contract. I guess I can touch on this real quick for anybody that's wondering why things kind of wrapped up a little bit earlier than usual on Sunday this year. When the contract for 2019, so the contracts for 2019 and 2018 were signed at the same time by the owner of the con, not myself, in 2017. When those contracts were signed. It is an oversight internally on I'll just say on Cider Fest's fault that when you book a contract for a venue, there's typically, well, there has to be, a part of it. Not only do you say what days you have the venue for, you also say the times, and the communication to the Hyatt about the times was we basically gave them, here's the times for when we're going to be having our programming. We thought it had been understood previously that obviously we were going to need time afterwards to tear down. And previously they had always been aware of that and added that on. And, so we said, okay, we need it till 6. And they said, okay. And then which means really you need it till like 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever, because you have to tear down. And so that's when the contract was written for. Well, whoever was involved in the contract signing process for 2019, when it happened in 2017. I'm not sure what happened because I was involved, but it was not caught that on the contract they didn't add on that teardown time. And so the contract said that we had to be out by 6. It takes AV a good 3 to 4 hours to tear down main events, and that's when they're not being rushed. So that's why things ended up having to wrap up, because we only had the space contracted until 6, because then another group was coming in to start setting up for something on Monday. So yeah, and it wasn't that they double booked us. It wasn't anything except for that, it wasn't paid attention to what the contract was before it got signed. And then once it was signed, we were stuck with it. And so that's how that happened. That's why we had to pull out of there a little bit early on Sunday. But that is now something that I know to look out for as well. So hopefully will not be a thing going forward. Taking a look at the chat. I like having the rare fancy food as a great change of pace from a normal dinner fare. It makes it special. So some positive comments about the sponsored dinner and the food, so that's good to know. Person, whoever said that you thought the food was too fancy, don't take any of this as you're wrong. It's just a confusing statement to me. So, as I look and I see people saying that, like, oh, I thought it was fine. That's not to say your opinion's wrong. I'm just confused, and I would be curious to know why you think that. Hey, Brilliant Adventure, good to see you. Let's see. Costa Baroni says, I do have a suggestion for the con store. Can it open a little earlier on Friday so it's less of a mad rush for everyone to buy vouchers? Yeah, possibly. I mean, like, it intentionally opens up after the vendor hall just so that we can, like, we try and stagger openings of things so that not everything is opening up at the same time, because then people are having to be torn in different directions, and we want to make sure that if there are issues, that the management, the directors are there, we can focus on getting those issues fixed before the next thing is supposed to open. Like, if 2 or 3 things are opening at the same time and 2 or 3 of those things all have issues opening, then we're getting pulled in different directions, and so yada yada yada. So that's one of the reasons why the con store opens a little bit later. It's just so that if there was anything, if there were any issues with opening ceremonies and getting things going or whatever, it's not happening at the same time. One plus is at the new venue at the Hilton. There's a space where we will be able to, I believe, as long as I have the staff to do it, fingers crossed, we'll be able to sell the vouchers right there at the autograph room, so that it'll be kind of like, you'll kind of go through the line, you'll buy the vouchers right there. There's a space that we can use just for that, and then you'll go through into where the autographs actually happen. It's like a separate room. There's a pretty good setup for that. So hopefully that particular issue will be a non-issue going forward. Brent says BronyCon was completely torn down at the dock set Sunday night. Yes, because they have an outside company come in and do it. That's why. It's because they have a union company that's paid to come in and tear it down. Not the same situation here, Brent. Let's see. Next con is not going to be 4 days. Stop suggesting that. It's not going to happen. No. Yeah, okay. So anyways, another person, pre-registration line like last year was painfully long. Surely it's not going to be done to speed it up, if only because it could prevent you from getting to the bar chart group within a reasonable amount of time. As to what to do, I'm not sure. Yes, exactly. It's a known issue, and yeah. Selling out of con merch. I mean, I don't want to bring home excess con merch. I want to sell it all, but I understand the frustration when it sells out for people that want to buy it. I wish I could know in advance exactly how much I need so that everybody gets what they want. Yeah. Cost of parking. Well, we solved that for next year, didn't we? In case you guys haven't heard this, parking for con attendees at the Hilton is $5 a night for attendees. Staff is $1 a night. It's wonderful. I'm so happy with that. So yeah, cost of parking, problem solved. Festivus panel ended before we even got there. I'm not sure what that means. If it ended early, or if if the person who wrote this was running late, it's not clear enough there on where they're indicating the fault with that is, if it's with them or the panel or what. Not really sure. Lack of hot cider in the cider lounge. There was supposed to be. I'm not sure why there wasn't. I will have to ask about that. Everything was perfect. Yay. The cold took some getting used to, especially for somebody who's used to Southern California sunshine, but of course that's not something you can control. Again, if that's the worst thing that happened to you at the con, I'll take it. Elevators, yeah, there's like 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like 10 elevators at the Hyatt. No, Hilton. This will not be the last time. This will not be the last time I get those two confused. I wish they both doesn't start with an H. There's like 10 elevators at the Hilton. So yes, hopefully Elevator Con will be a thing of the past. The non-alcoholic cider lounge was pretty lackluster. It's free. I mean, like, sorry. Let's see. My panel had tech issues, plus was hard pressed to draw people in. I would be interested to know more about that person who wrote that. Let's see. Looking for anything else. Like I say, the things that people did not like. This is what's really important to me. Yeah, I'd like to spend a little more time on this stuff. Not sure if there was one, but a fan fiction contest panel would have been fun. Maybe speed writing and or random prompts. I don't believe anyone submitted for that panel. We can only put on the panels that people want to put on. So if that's something you'd like to see, feel free to run it yourself. That sounds like it could be fun. Let's see. Let's see. The Celestial Sponsor Special event, referring to the event with Claire. Sorry, that was your least favorite thing. I would be interested to know why. I had a panel at the same time, so I didn't get to see it. I'm sorry that that didn't work out for you, responder. I'm sorry. The weather for the extended 25-hour drive up there. Drove 25 hours. Okay, maybe. Wow. Okay, that's a long drive. Hopefully, you had people to trade off with. Good lord. Lack of physical space for events, but most by actionable complaints seem to be accounted for by the change of location for 2020. Yes, exactly that. Odd timing of autograph sessions with cast and crew. Not sure. So, for anyone who's wondering, autograph sessions are always 30 minutes after the guest of honor panel. So, I'm not sure why this person found that timing to be odd. But, yeah. Let's see. Panels were very off schedule, which I'm taking to mean that things were running late. Aside from Sunday, that's the first I'm hearing about that. I'm not sure if they're talking about more than Sunday or what. So yeah. You see that's I have to assume they're talking about Sunday, because every other day, like one of the things that we do with our schedule that not every event does is there is a half-hour buffer between every single panel. Most of the time. So that way, if something is running late, it doesn't push the next thing back. There's a half-hour buffer between every single event. So I know Sunday and main events, again, there were unavoidable circumstances that caused things to run late. But so I'm not, I wish this person had elaborated on what was running late. I have to assume they meant Sunday. Let's see. Hotel scheduling restrictions limiting the time the con could run. To be clear, the hotel absolutely 100% stuck by the contract that was signed, so they did not do anything wrong there. Just in case anyone is not is confused on that point.
Get him!
Yeah, get him. Let's see. The hangovers. Well, drink more water. Hail hydrate. The inability to tell which line for the main events room was for regular attendees and which line was for sponsors. Yeah, that's fair. Well, again, that should be something that's solved in the new venue, because just the layout of the spaces in the hallways should allow for better line control, especially for separated lines and things like that. So, yeah, hopefully that'll be handled. The cider bar was kind of a letdown without any real decent ciders. The hotel, I mean, I don't know what this person considers a real decent cider. I know that they had several varieties up there, but it's common stuff like, Angry Orchard and I don't know, like Cider Boys or whatever. There's only certain things the hotel can get because they have to go through their specific vendors, yada yada. And as much as I've tried to ask them to get more things, they don't want to order all this weird stuff that they might not sell and then be stuck with it afterwards, because that's actually not what would happen. They would turn around and charge us for the excess whatever they didn't sell, which could potentially be a very big bill. So yeah, we do certainly make sure that they have some, but it's hard to get them to have a ton of different stuff, because then things get financially complicated. The social hour was difficult to navigate. It was busy and chaotic, and that's and that's after I shut down sales of the a la carte tickets, because I didn't want it to be too crowded. So to this person, I'm sorry that you found it to be a little bit busy. I did we did do what we could to keep that from happening, but yeah, it definitely does seem to be one of those situations where you need to be it benefits you to be I don't know, more able to insert yourself into conversations. If for somebody who's more of a wallflower, for example, at the social hour can be a bit tricky unless you have somebody to kind of help you get into a conversation. Just because, yeah, there's a lot of people talking, and it can be a little bit overwhelming for some. But yeah, sort of the nature of the thing. Taking a peek at the chat real quick here. If anybody's asked a question and I have not answered it, please go ahead and re-ask it. Soundboard asks, will there be cider tastings in the future? I sure hope so. Let's see. Always expect that the charity auction bleeds into closing ceremonies. I mean, I hate that that's a thing to expect, but yeah, pretty much expect that. Let's see. Water break, pub trot. Oh, well, yeah. Somebody brought up the last stop at the pub trot, or lack thereof. Yeah, we weren't happy about that either. I don't know how the person who organized the pub trot, Vivid Syntax, he called them and he said, hey, we're bringing all these people here, like potentially like 100 odd people. Are you going to have room for us? Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. Bring them on by. I don't know how you tell a group totally fine to bring like 100 odd people by when you know, obviously, at that point in time that you're having like a giant Halloween party and your place is going to be packed. So yeah, we were kind of screwed over by that. I don't foresee us ever going back to that place again, because yeah, that was not nice. Let's see. Looking at chat again. Can the Hilton make a chrysalis? If we haven't gotten to talk about specialty drinks. I'm sure they can do them. But yeah. Quentin asks, Charlie, are you cosplaying for Winnie City? Probably not. I don't really have time for cosplay. I wish. I would love to do a Rockhoof cosplay. Obvious reasons. But yeah, that sort of requires time, and that's not really something I have an abundance of. Let's see. Would it be okay to wear a non-MLP cosplay to Winnie City 2020? Sure. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you can cosplay as whatever you want as long as it's family friendly. Did the Jem Blake art? Yep. I did. Thank you, Soundboard, for the art. Appreciate that. Brony for life. You've said ADA stamp a couple times, but I don't. Is there a question there? I'm not sure why you keep saying that. Let's see. Rainbow Dash Love Rocks 0802. Do you know if you guys are going to get Andrea for this year's Cider Fest? I haven't even started thinking about this year's Cider Fest, so no, I don't know that. I don't know a thing about it except for what the theme is going to be and the hotel it's going to be at. That's it. I'm worried about Winnie City right now. Jenny Miller, I will make you a cosplay. Okay. I won't say no to that. ADA stamp, glue it to the registration desk. That would be hard because we would want to take it home. So I'm not really sure. Not sure what the cat in the blinds. Anyways, how many cosplayers do you hope to invite out to Cider Fest next year? I don't know. All of them. I would love to have all the cosplayers out to Cider Fest next year. But yeah, I mean, like it very much is like if there is a fandom, like a notable fandom cosplayer that can't make it out to Cider Fest next year, I'm going to be disappointed about it, because I absolutely want this to be the convention for them. Like just like we did with the musicians, with the musician theme in 2018. That was a convention that was by musicians for musicians. You know, the general concept was originally brainstormed by Forest Rain, which is something that she wanted to turn into the Winter Moon Festival, which didn't come together, but I sort of took that idea with her blessing, of course, and we took it and turned it into you know, the theme for Cider Fest 18. And between her assistance and Luck Rock and all the musicians that helped put everything together, you know, that absolutely was a convention by musicians for musicians. I want Cider Fest 2020 to be by cosplayers for cosplayers, and so yeah, I mean, this is absolutely the entire intent of this convention is to give MLP cosplayers, any cosplayers really, but specifically focus on MLP cosplayers, to give them the perfect convention for them. And so I need, so A, I hope that they come out so that they can enjoy it because it's for them, and B, I hope that some people will volunteer to help put it together and figure out what it's going to be and plan it and make sure that it's the event for them, you know, the perfect event for them, because I don't know what that is. I don't know what a cosplayer wants in a convention. And, you know, some of my staff and, you know, the various community guests and people that help out with things probably have some ideas towards that. But, you know, the more input that we have, the better. And so, yeah, that's my vision for Cider Fest 2020. So going back to the least favorite thing about this year, paying extra for a line skip badge only to end up behind accessibility passes. Consider arrange a compromise between those two types of badge holders. I'm not with a line skip badge. I'm assuming that you need that you were a sponsor and you had priority. But behind accessibility passes, yeah, I don't know. Just off the top of my head, I don't know what the right answer is there. We've always done kids first. And then sponsors. And I thought, well, yeah, I'll have to talk to programming about that and see what they think makes the most sense. I mean, I don't think we have that many accessibility folks, so it shouldn't be that much of a time difference, but yeah, we'll have to talk about that. When the auction ran well over time, makes it difficult for people who made plans on for Sunday evening, getting rides home, or have to catch a flight, have hungry kids, yada yada yada. Yeah. Again, the things running late on Sunday was out of our control. I can't really get into why, but yeah, it was an unfortunate situation that was unavoidable. Looking at chat, let's see. Nolan, I see you're in there. Do me a favor, let me know if I miss anything. Any good questions that need to be answered. Is there a reason why there are no longer snacks in the cider lounge? I thought there were, actually. I know that we originally had like a bowl, just like a bowl of like pretzels or like snack mix or whatever, which is a potential, you know, con crud breeding ground. So I think that's why we continued that. And then when we started looking at individual packaged things, just like the pricing started to get up there. But I thought we had something, but apparently maybe I'm wrong there. So yeah, we'll be relooking at that. But you know, it's hard to have a room where you're giving away free food, and because you get people that'll just sit in there and have dinner on your free snacks. So yeah. Let's see. I guess Brilliant Venture was curious about bellhop service at the Hilton. I don't know. I know they have a bellhop. I'm not sure what the specific question was. Will the bellhop carts be more accessible to attendees at the Hilton? The carts that I had to be accompanied by help. Yeah, that the reason why that is just Brill, just so you know, is because of the Hyatt has had issues with people coming in off the street and taking the luggage carts, and so that's why they had them be accompanied and why they're locked down, because they were going missing quite frequently. I don't know off the top of my head what the situation is with the carts at the Hilton. You've made me curious, so I will ask about that. I don't recall seeing them locked up in the same fashion, but I don't remember for sure. So yeah, I don't know. King Kong Black Man says, I want to see the new hotel. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I mean, it is going to be different for sure. The vibe and the feel of Cider Fest at the Hilton is going to be very different than at the Hyatt. Not to say it's going to be worse or better. I mean, it's just going to be different. I briefly, for like half a second, because we've done nicknames for the con before, well, once before, when we did Ponyville Oktoberfest. I briefly considered doing a year nickname for next year, and so like Ponyville Cider Fest, but like where the Hyatt is kind of Ponyville, like the Hilton in comparison is kind of like Equestria. So I considered a nickname of Equestria Cider Fest, but I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So I left it. But no, it's a gorgeous venue. It's different for sure, but it's good. I think it's gonna go with the theme really well. Yeah, so it's gonna be nice. Let's see. Rainbow Dash Love Rocks 0802 for Winnie City this year. UVA is going to get tabbed at Saint Germain. No, I have nothing to announce on that, and this call's kind of focused on Cider Fest, so let's kind of I'm gonna try and stay focused on that. Beta Wolf said, "Hey, not a complaint, but the vendor hall was really great this year. Very nicely laid out and just felt better than past years. Great, awesome." What, Michelle, is your game over?
Yeah.
What has happened?
Not good, Charlie.
Not good, so the Packers won? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I feel dejected.
Cider Fest fans, congratulations, your home team won. Michelle fans, she was rooting for Seattle. We're from Chicago, so we can't be Packers fans, apparently. But yeah. Let's see. Blackjack says more room, I hope. There's the square footage in the overall event space between comparing the Hyatt to the Hilton it's roughly the same in a weird way. So when you look at the overall square footage for event space in the Hyatt, they include the entirety of the apple orchard in that, which is the atrium area there. So which is kind of yes, I mean yes, it is an event space, but it's also a very limited use event space. You can't it's a big open area in the middle of the hotel. So the square footage of the event space at the Hilton, I think when you include the apple orchard, I think it's a hair less, but taking out the apple orchard, it's more. So I look at it as being more event space. Also, the rooms are smaller, but there's the main events room is bigger, but the rest of the rooms are smaller, but there's more of them. So we're going to be able to have more things going on at a time, and have a lot of times we'll have panels like in the Carmel room or in the Oak room, where just based on the audience, it could be in a room half the size, and so those events will still fit perfectly fine in the slightly smaller rooms over at the Hilton. So yeah, we'll be able to we have more rooms. Aside from main events, the rest of them are all smaller, but yeah, we'll be able to have more stuff going on. Brand, it's not that Michelle is a Seahawks fan; it's that she's not a Packers fan. So anybody but the Packers was sort of her wish there. But yeah. Let's see. Brent said Hyatt to the Hilton or Hilton to the Hyatt. I don't know what that means. Brilliant said, no, another thing myself and some of the other musicians were wondering is if any of the audio or video from either of the nights will be sent out anytime soon, if recorded at least. Do I have the footage? I think I might have the footage. I'm going to be looking for some help in going through. I have video footage going all the way back to Cider Fest 16, for almost every single con that I just have sitting around. I just don't have the time to go through it all. So in answer to your question, if it will be anytime soon, I don't know that. Eventually, I just don't know that soon. I would like to see the museum return. I don't know if you mean the Traveling Pony Museum. They were in the vendor hall this year, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to. If you mean something else. Running for Life 1982. More rooms versus less square footage per room. Yes, the Hilton. God, I have to concentrate to get the right name. The Hilton has more rooms, but the rooms are smaller. So, yes. Will the Cider Lounge finally have its own room? We'll finally know where it is ahead of time. You did know this year. It was in the con book. We were actually able to announce where the Cider Lounge was this year. For the first time ever, it was in the con book. But I mean, it's always had its own room, so I'm not sure what you mean there. I mean, yeah, the goal always is to know where it is ahead of time. The problem is that it's in a suite, and like, so being that it's in a hotel room, typically we don't know where it is until we have to check into it, just like anyone else goes to check into their hotel room, so they have a whole bunch of suites, and we just get whichever one's available, just because of people checking in and checking out. So that's why we typically didn't know where it was going to be ahead of time this year. But this year they were able to tell us just because of the way the bookings worked out. So this year we were able to, 2019 we were able to put it in the con book. But yeah. Why did you guys have to change the hotel for the Cider Fest? May I ask? We didn't have to. We chose to. To be clear, the Hilton, we don't want to be always just happy with the status quo. We don't want to just do the same thing every year. And so every now and then we'll reach out and we'll kind of just see what our options are. The convention, of course, is a business at the same time. And so we reached out to the Hilton and just kind of said, like, what do you guys got? Just out of curiosity. And they ended up offering us a deal that we just could not say no to. And so, so this will kind of mix things up a little bit. It'll kind of keep things fresh and, keep Cider Fest just being the same thing every single year. Again, I think it's going to go great with the cosplay theme. $5 parking for attendees. I mean, that's going to be huge for a lot of people. I mean, that's right there could make the difference with some people being able to come, with not having to pay 25 or 30 or whatever dollars it is a night for parking without having to walking distance to some random garage or parking lot. There were just a lot of benefits. And so, we, I'm being very literal with your wording here. We did not have to, we chose to. But yeah, let's see. Brilliant Venture, their contract was up. In terms of that, I mean, that's not really accurate. We could have resigned with the Hilton. We just chose not to. Hyatt. We could have see. We could have. We certainly could have stayed at the Hyatt. There was nothing. We is one. Some people seem to have some various ideas on this. We 100% chose to move Cider Fest to the Hilton for all of the benefits that I have listed. There was absolutely nothing making us leave the Hyatt. There was nothing forcing us out. There was nothing. It was nothing like that. We typically sign only 1 or 2 years at a time, anyways. And so, it was 100% a voluntary decision because we think it's going to be an improvement of an event for our attendees. That's the reason why. Good maps, please. It was a bit confusing, and Dorman tried to lead me across to the convention center when I came for the reception. Yes, Jacqueline, that is something that, so when we were over at the Hilton, I kind of grabbed a group of people that were standing around me. I said, hey, you guys want to have a tour? And so some people kind of got to go explore the space with me a bit. And one thing that we definitely talked about on that is that, so you guys might be familiar with the banners that we had at the top of the escalator, kind of saying downstairs is where the barley and the caramel and the oak room are, and then by the elevator it's like Trotters is on the top floor. We call those waypoint banners. And so one thing we definitely talked about is that we're going to need a lot of waypoint banners, and those will I would like to have basically you are here dot maps on them so that people can find their way around, because yes, one of the things that I do consider not a downside. I was called a downside over at the Hyatt. At the Hilton over the Hyatt is that it is much more mazy. Which just in terms of one of the nice things about the Hyatt is that if you're in the atrium, you can see everywhere you want to go for the most part. It's a very easy to navigate hotel. The Hilton is not as much. So yes, we're going to have waypoint banners with "You Are Here" maps. At least that's the intention. Here's hoping that works out. But Jason Poles, and speaking of parking, will there be a prepaid option for the $5 parking? I don't know the answer to that. I imagine that they just added on to your bill, but I don't know how to. Does the Hilton staff know how to deal with bronies? They've had fandom conventions there before. That's where Anime Milwaukee, Anime Milwaukee is now. So if they can deal with anime kids, they can deal with bronies. Like, it'll be fine. Let's see. Blackjack, can you have more Fallout Equestria? Have people put in panels. We can only have panels if people submit. Jason Poles, I have friends with the bellhop at the Hilton and prepared him. If you're talking about, I hope you're talking. For those who don't know, one of my favorite little stupid things. I mean, it's not stupid, but kind of minor things about the Hilton is they have a dog concierge. The dog's name is Millie, I believe. It's some sort of like poodle mix, so it doesn't shed. It doesn't have like the allergens like some dogs do, but it's this adorable little dog. It's there like Thursday through Sunday or something like that. So Millie and her owner, I'm pretty sure the name's Millie. They're there, and she's adorable. She's great. It's I believe it's a dog-friendly hotel too. So if that's for some people might be an upside over the Hyatt. That's always fun. Solar, will there be a relatively open spot for the Renegade Stage at the new venue? I appreciate the openness the Apple Orchard had, and it felt more approachable. Winnie Cities doesn't have the same feel. No, is the simple answer. The Hilton doesn't have anything like the atrium, so right now the best spot that I can think of to put the Renegade Stage, for those who saw the Hilton, so there's kind of like the main section where on the 4th floor where like the registration and the rooms are, and then there's a hallway that kind of goes like way far away to like this. It's like a 2-minute walk. It's not like far away, but there's a long hallway that goes to a event space that's off to the side, which is probably where we're going to put tabletop. That hallway is kind of like separated off from everything, and so I think maybe in that hallway would be the best place to put Renegade Stage, because that way it's in a space where it's not going to be just because of how the layout of the hotel, you can't just put in like a hallway that people are going to be going by like all the time, because then you won't be able to have it up very loud at all. And so I think in this hallway you'll be able to put it off a little bit. It's a big hallway. So anyways, not certain on this plan yet. Unfortunately, no. The Apple Orchard is going to be the thing that I'm gonna. There's 2 things I'm gonna miss most about the Hyatt: the Apple Orchard and Trotter's, the restaurant on the top floor. I mean, the view up there is incredible. So those 2 spaces are what I'm gonna miss most about the Hyatt. But again, we just feel that the upsides of all the other things outweighed the downsides. So yeah. Let's see. Nolan says check with Spot Hero for pre-registering parking as a possibility. I mean, yes, but you're not going to get the con rate. You're going to pay like the same Spot Hero rates that everyone else is going to pay. The $5 rate is only for attendees, so I don't think you'll be able to get through like a public service through like Spot Hero. Let's see. Rainbow Dash Love Rocks 0802. Tell Michelle I'm a Bears fan and tell her that my boyfriend is a Packer fan. I'll let her know. Golden Doodle Millie. Yes, she's a Golden Doodle. That's right. You can pet Millie. Millie's great. Millie's great with people. You can take pictures. I took a picture with her when I was there before. Hilton. Okay, let's get back to the. Let's see. We're an hour in already. Hopefully, you guys, our viewers, stayed consistent. Around 50 people watching, so people aren't getting bored yet. Once again, for everybody who's watching, this is a very informal kind of review and just kind of talk about. We're talking about the attendee survey results, and I'm also just kind of talking about questions in the chat here. So feel free if you have any questions to put in the chat. I am trying to pay attention to multiple things here, so if I don't see your question, or if I don't answer your question, feel free to keep asking it, but don't do it in shorthand, because if you just put like just make sure to ask the full question so that I know fully how to answer. Fry Cookie says, Charlie, I respect what you do and I appreciate your enthusiasm for the event. Keep up the good stuff. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for being a repeat sponsor, Fry Cookie. That's always great. Let's see. Beta Wolves, are you planning on reusing the same plushies from this year for next year? No, because we are out of them. I have a few Barleys left, which are currently available for people that to pick that are getting the higher sponsor tiers for Windy City registrations. But no, next year we are going to have to order new plushies if we're going to have plushies, which I assume we are. Again, haven't started planning Cider Fest yet, but yeah, no, next year there will be new plushies. Whether they will be just more of the same design, or if we're going to tweak it, or if they're going to be different, not sure yet. But the current run is pretty much gone. So yeah. And yeah, let's see. Best recommendations for cheese curds on the next go around. Ended up settling for George Webb's. Oh, George Webb. Oh, you try so hard. No, you don't. You don't try hard at all. What am I saying? Best as far as I'm concerned, the absolute best cheese curds that I've ever had in my entire life are at Lakefront Brewery. It's not really walking distance. It's maybe like a 5-minute drive. So relatively cheap Uber. But Lakefront Brewery, it's just down the river from Cider Fest. And I'm not the only person who thinks this. By far, the absolute best cheese curds I have ever had in my entire life. And especially if you like beer, go to Lakefront. It's a great place.
The Miller Pub at the bottom of the Hilton has really good.
That's true too. The Miller Time Pub that is in the Hilton on the first floor there also has very good cheese curds. Pretty close second to Lakefront. I would still say theirs are better, but yes.
And their late night burgers are cheap.
Yeah, their burgers are really good too. Miller Time Pub is really good food. That's one of the things I like about this is that the Miller Time Pub. So the most hotels have contracts with airlines to host flight crews. It's just sort of a thing that kind of everybody got involved in doing. And one of the stipulations of the Hilton's agreement for the flight crews that they host is that they have food available late. And so Miller Time Pub is an extension of that. And so Miller Time, I think every night is open till like 1 a.m. So really good food. I mean, it's not like, fast food price, but it's not like super expensive either. But really good food available until like 1 a.m. like every single night, I believe, or something like that. Hi, Xiao Xiao. Hi. But yeah. Let's see. Yeah, George Webb is. I mean, it's okay in a pinch once you eventually get it. But I have quite possibly the slowest restaurant for what you get that I've ever possibly encountered. Let's see. Let's see. Brony Life. Brony for Life 1982. This place had my favorite beer, Dragon's Milk. Yeah, Dragon's Milk. Good stuff. Probably about the best bourbon barrel aged porter you can get year round, reliably. Sea Snow says check out Major Goolsby's cheese curds too, if they're still around. I heard something that they might be closing Major Goolsby's, which would be sad. But yeah, if they're still open, yeah, check out them. I haven't had them, but yeah. Okay, cool. So once again, if I'm visually caught up on the chat. If you've asked something and I haven't answered it, please ask it again. Back to least favorite thing about this year. The AfterCon special events were a bit chaotic, yes, due to the things being delayed. Sorry about that. Oh, this is interesting. Some panelists felt the need to interject or preach their political beliefs during a couple of the panels. It was rather jarring in two particular cases and really had a far different tone than the rest of the con. If that was your least favorite thing about the convention, something that was completely outside of our concept's control, at least that's good on us. I don't know, knowing what panels these were, or possibly the panelists might provide some context there. I'm certainly not going to dictate what panelists can and cannot say in their events. So I guess at the very least now not to go to those panels again. But yeah. Somebody said their least favorite thing was the satanic worship in the lobby. I don't know if that's a joke or not. Okay. In case you're confused, those were pumpkins, and they were there for a voting contest. Those were not satanic worship. Yeah, I don't know if you mean or not. Let's see. Couldn't be in two places at once. Yeah. Let's see. Looking at chat. Argo says Midwest First Fest had a paper map layout of the Hyatt Regency O'Hare. I mean, we have a map in the con book. We'll definitely be looking at a way to provide everybody to have a good way to navigate around the hotel. There will be a map in the con book. I mean, that goes without saying. In terms of if we have to do more than that, we will absolutely. Okay, so maps. We will absolutely have a map in the con book. That's a given. B, I'm 99% sure that we're going to have a whole bunch of waypoint banners around. So basically, at the end of any hallway, you'll be able to see a banner, and that banner is going to say it will have a map of the floor, a dot with saying you are here, and then there'll be arrows saying like these rooms are this way and these rooms are this way. And so there at any point you should. My ideal solution would be no matter where you are standing, you will be able to turn in some direction and find a banner with arrows on it, and you'll be able to walk to that banner, and then you'll say, oh, here's the room I need to go to. The arrow's pointing this way. I'll go to that one. Now you might need to repeat that process, like you walk to the next banner, that one points to the left, walk to the next banner, that one points to the right. So it might be a situation like that where you're following arrows, but one way or another, I want to provide a way for people to find their way around. So definitely map in the comic book. 99% sure we're going to do all those waypoint banners. And then a third beyond that, if we have a more detailed, like fold out map or something like that, and it depends on cost, really, is what that comes down to. And also having the time to design that, because that's potentially a lot of work. But yeah, anyways. Let's see. King and Black Man, both Winnie City and Cider Fest cosplay related. So the theme for Winnie City is Superhero Showdown. So it's superhero related, which so cosplay isn't the theme. Of course, there's a strong connection between superheroes and costumes, but cosplay isn't the theme so much. It's more about the superheroes and the villains and all that. Cider Fest is cosplay themed, so kind of close, I know, but anyways. Let's see. Looking for Charlie. Commit there are stickers for the 88 badges that have a big stamp instead. No, because stickers gonna be peeled off. So we're gonna stick with the stamp. Let's see. Only thing I hope for 2020 is Crackle's group bringing back Buckball, because that was the highlight of the con for me. A lot of people said they liked Buckball, so yeah, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't have Buckball. Provided that Crackle is able to attend and put it on, which I'm sure they will. Let's see. Can we have an after-con party type deal again this year? The thing at the Hilton was fun. 1964 Corvette, the after party at the Hilton, for lack of a sure, we'll call it that. I mean, one of the reasons why we added that was because the con at the Hyatt needed to end so early. I wanted to give I wanted to give something to people who were expecting it to go until 6. I didn't want them to feel cheated by just ending things at 3 and saying, okay, bye, thanks, have a good weekend. So I added and paid for the extra event at the Hilton to be able to make everyone feel like that they got their full value, that there was something going on. Next year, first of all, I made sure the contract, we have the space, we have the entire hotel until midnight, and in the Monday actually a little bit too. The problem is that AV needs to tear down. And so it's hard to have events go super late on Sunday, because the longer the con goes, the later AV has to stay and tear things down. And they have one of the hardest jobs in the con as it is. And so, if it got too late, I would almost have to like ask for volunteers or figure out like some sort of additional way of compensating people that have to like tear down until like 2, 3, or 4 in the morning, or even worse, depending on how you look at it, get up early on Monday to like tear down. So. That's not that's not something I think they want to do. B, that's not something that I'm super like enthusiastic for paying for or coming up with something else there. We run on a tight enough budget as it is, so yeah, it's hard to have like an after party like that. But yeah, let's see. Brill, if you need more AV people for Cider at the Hilton, yes, almost always need more AV people. So yes, absolutely. Doughboy, the little tiny balcony in the main hall, is anyone out there? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's just like a little tiny balcony. It probably fits 2 people at the most. But yeah. Let's see. So looking at chat. Okay. A couple more least favorite things here. Besides the main room, all the other panel rooms have panelists on the same level as the audience. That makes it really hard to see panelists in a crowded room. I thought there were risers. I mean, I know they're not tall risers. The ceilings in that room aren't very tall, so you can't have very tall risers. But I thought there were at least like 6 or 8 inch risers. At the very least, I'm certain that there was a riser in Barley. Maybe they didn't put a riser in Carmel this room, and there definitely was not a riser in Oak. So yeah, no, that's fair. But the Hilton has higher ceilings, and so risers should be doable there for all the panel rooms. But yeah, no, that's a fair complaint. And yeah, it was a little hard to figure out who was in what line for an autograph to the small size of the room. Yes. And I'm happy to say that the autograph room at the Hilton is I would say 2 to 3 times the size, and so that'll be a lot nicer. Yeah. So that's sort of the gist of every notable things I got from the least favorite thing. What was the thing that got you a badge for Cider Fest 19? Let's see. Kids programming, one of the first responses. That's cool. Lots of people saying I buy a badge no matter what. I have a sponsor for years and would not miss it. The season pass. That's awesome. I get a badge no matter what. I always come. Yeah, lots of people saying having Francis Vase said that was a selling point for somebody. That's cool. Let's see. Guest of honor, previous experience, positive reputation. Was going to go no matter what. A lot of people, and this is great. This is the kind of thing that I see that really just drives home that at the end of the day we're doing the right thing here. Is because I would say at least half of the responses here about why did you come are people saying like what do you mean why did I come? I'm going to come every year no matter what. And that's fantastic. That's the best thing. Loyalty. Kelly Sheridan, Prince, whatever. I was very happy to have Prince for the first time. That was great. Let's see. You could finally afford it. Nice. Let's see. Community guests. That's cool. Yeah. Recommendations. Going again no matter what. Previous Cider Fest. BurnaCon had ended and I wanted to continue enjoying pony conventions, so I'm trying every single one across the country to see what's best. Hopefully we ranked high. We got a flyer from the Crackle cosplay lady, and we're so glad we went. We had a great time. Thanks for promoting Crackle. That's appreciated. Yeah, no, that's great. Awesome. Taking a look at the chat. Yeah, see right there, Jennifer Lost Disc, Jennifer Rittman. I am not getting up early on Monday to tear down. Yeah, exactly. Rainbow Dash, Love Rocks. Do you think you guys are going to have whose line it is anyway at Winnie City? Again, let's try and focus on Cider Fest on this call. But as soon as because anything that we are ready to announce for Winnie City has been announced, and so we're working on other stuff. So let's just focus on Cider Fest for this one. So we're putting a pony on the radio tower, right? Bear Twigs asked. So yeah, on the top of the Hilton, there's a giant radio tower. I don't think they would let us. B, I don't think I could afford that. However much I would like to, that'd be fantastic. Will there be a place for the go-kart? Probably. There's lots of hallways, lots of corners. Let's see. Oh yeah, lots of people now in the chat saying I'll go like no matter what. That's fantastic. Thank you. Sea Snow says, you mentioned a runway of sorts for the cosplayers in the main events room. What's going to be like? We're excited for that stunning ballroom. Yeah. So this is only in my head. I haven't talked to, I think, really any staff with this yet, at the very least, because there is no staff. Cider Fest hasn't started being planned yet, really, in that regard. But going along with the cosplay theme, kind of what's in my head is we have the normal stage, like you would expect, but then to go along with that, one of the things I think is almost required if you're doing a con based on cosplay is to have a runway, so you could have like a fashion show, and so to go along with that. Plus, I think it would allow for some interesting opportunities for for the concerts, for like any of the like the guests of honor stuff. Anytime people are up on stage moving around, the charity auction especially, is to have a runway going straight down the middle of the hall with people sitting on either side. So that way, for all those different events, you could have people like up on a stage going all the way down. Again, just in my head, haven't figured out the any of the AV nature of this, any potential complications, lighting, yada yada yada. That's just what's in my head, but that's sort of what I would like to see happen, because I think there's a lot of things we could do with that, and I think it's really appropriate for the cosplay theme. Any standout complaints about Cards Against Equestria? Again, Brent, DM me about specific panel feedback. I'll send that to you privately. Hey Colin, don't worry about it being late. You can catch up later too. The whole thing will be available to watch on YouTube once we're over here. Let's see. Doughboy123 asks, do you reach out to certain animators, artists to promote Cider Fest, or do they come to you? So both. So the staff artists, they apply, and we approve them, and they come on staff. And so the people who make all the art for like the guest announcements, the con book, with exceptions here or there, which I'll get to in a second. Those are all staff artists. So they come to us for typically. Sometimes with like the con book covers, what I've kind of started to do is that I have like a guest artist of some kind do the con book covers, because I think that kind of keeps it mixed up and varied. So like for example, the con book cover for Cider Fest this year was done by Snow, which I don't know if that's there's somebody with the name of Snow in the chat. I don't know if that's the same Snow, Sea Snow. I don't know if that's Inky Studios, if that's the same person, but they did the cover this year, and in that particular case, I approached them. I said, "Hey, would you be interested in being a community guest and doing the con book cover and so on and so forth?" So in that case, I approached them. In the past, when we've had we've been able to have people do like little animations for to kind of promote, like with Cider Fest 16, where we had the Halloween one, we had kind of like that animation of like it was like a play on like the Hearthstone promo, I think it was. Adam the Amazing 64 did it, I believe. I believe I approached him for that. So it's a little bit of both. It just kind of depends on what we're talking about. And then of course the IDW artists, we approach them. Usually. Sometimes they'll say, "Hey, I'm free. Could I come out to your con?" That's happened before with once or twice, but typically like normal guests of honor, we approach them. Let's see. 1964 Corvette, will there be a potential for the concert to be classical music themed, so to take advantage of the 20s vibe of the hotel? That would certainly be interesting. I don't think that's what the majority of attendees would want. I think they would want fandom artists doing what fandom artists do best. So I don't think that would really work out. Interesting idea though, for sure. Yeah, it's funny. Michelle said this to me before. If I had thought about this, if this had occurred to me because of being in the new hotel, and of course now 2020, now we're in the roaring 20s, like doing like it would have been really appropriate and worked out really well to do a roaring 20s theme in this hotel, being 2020, yada yada yada. But that didn't cross any of our minds until after the cosplay theme was very much set in stone and announced and everything. But yeah, I don't know, maybe 2021, maybe we'll do that for then. We'll see. Let's see. Colin Brown. So the theme for 2020 is going to be cosplay, or is that an idea that's being tossed around? No, as announced, the theme for Cider Fest 2020 is a Nightmare Night celebration of a cosplay. That's the full tagline. So it is on Halloween weekend. Saturday of the con is Halloween. So we can't not focus on that. That would be tragic. That would be tragic if we ignored that. So it is absolutely Nightmare Night themed, but of course it just works out perfectly that you dress up for that, and so focusing on cosplay as well. So yes. Cider Fest 2020 being a con by cosplayers for cosplayers, just like 18 was by musicians for musicians. That is the theme. That is announced and set, and will be happening. Nico asks, I have a question. Will there be a lot of vendors at Cider Fest, right? So the one thing that's going to be a little bit different about the vendor hall situation at Cider Fest 2020 is that, okay, so for anybody that saw the hotel, there's the giant main crystal ballroom where main events is going to be. Outside of that, there's this little pre-function lobby area, and then directly across from that, there is, I forget the name of the room, but there is the next largest room. So the vendor hall is going to be in that room. However, it is about half the size-ish of the vendor hall at Cider Fest. What we don't want to do is we don't want to cut the number of vendors we normally have, which is, 35-ish. We don't want to cut, we don't want to cut that number in half. So what we're going to do is we're going to offer essentially two types of vendor hall tables for Cider Fest. There's going to be the vendors that can be in that room, which at night will be locked up, and so for vendors with bigger displays and more complex displays and and more valuable stuff, that would be the ideal spot for them. However, that pre-function area outside of main events, we are also going to put vendor tables out there. The upside to that area is lots more foot traffic, because basically you're going to kind of have to walk through that space for the most part to get into main events. The downside is that it will not be secured at night. So the only vendors that are really going to want to be there likely are the ones that are going to tear down every night and take their stuff back to their room, because it won't be secure. So it will be a trade-off, but I know that there are some vendors who have relatively light and simple setups who would absolutely trade having to tear down every night for vastly increased foot traffic. So the overall number of vendors between the two spaces, I think, is going to be roughly the same as we usually have at Cider Fest. Yeah, so that's going to be the situation there. Argo says, I've heard that artists and vendors in general think Cider Fest is one of the best, if not the best convention for them in terms of experience and things running smoothly. That's awesome to hear. Thank you very much. Full credit for that goes to Screw Loose, our vendor hall head. He's amazing. He was the vendor hall lead for BronyCon. He does Windy City for me as well when he can. And yeah, no, he is definitely one of the most dedicated staffers I've had the lucky opportunity to work with. So full props to Screwless for that. Tonic Spirits says, some cons I've noticed charges $0 to $15 for their ball, whereas Cider Fest charges $25. Do you know why? So I assume you mean the gala. So the reason why, most cons that don't charge anything don't have food. The gala, our Grand Gala, there's food. There's a catered event. We have hors d'oeuvres out for everybody, and so that's the main reason why. Is because you're paying for the food. Yeah, so that's the core reason why. The ones that don't charge, I'm assuming they don't have food. The roaring 20s. Boy. Can I throw candy around? No, don't throw candy. Hand out candy. Eat candy. Let's see. Nico says, a friend of mine always wanted to stand as a vendor named Torben. Oh, Torben Goldman, yeah. Art and Prince, I was always told no. Is it possible for a yes this time? He sells a lot of MLP merch. We've had Torben before. I'm sure we have. Yeah, I mean, I'm not involved in vendor selections at all. Screwless is in charge of that. In terms of, I'm sure if Torben applied and was waitlisted, I'm sure Screwless would be able to tell him why. I don't have that information. But I'm sure that when Screwless is picking vendors, it comes down to having a good variety of materials, having good variety of vendors, having people who have good quality materials, and so on and so forth. I'm familiar with Torben's work, I'm pretty sure, so I don't know why he wouldn't be. I swear to God, we had him just in Windy City, unless I'm just misremembering. But yeah, there's certainly no reason that I'm aware of why Torben would be told no on a regular basis or anything like that. He's certainly not blacklisted or anything like that. Okay. So it looks like I'm caught up on questions. Once again, re-up, bump your questions up if I did not answer them. Let's see, what else? What else are some interesting questions we can talk about here? Here we go. Here's a good one. If we could change one thing for next year, what do you think it would be? Nothing. Ending the charity auction on time. Keep the auction moving. Different venue. Oh, wait. If you can, slow down time. Yeah. No Bar Louie on the pub trot next year. Yep. No, we will not be going back there. I would not have the gaming finals at closing ceremonies. It can take a while, and I just find a break in the fun that is closing ceremonies. Yeah. So this person is talking about the Gaming is Magic tournament that we do. And yeah, I get what you mean about it can kind of interrupt the flow to have it there. But on the same token, like it is like I think it is, I think it's cool that we do something special and like put such a focus on it. It kind of, I think it drives people to be more involved. And the one thing that I've definitely emphasized with No Pony, our video gaming department head, is that I do want the finals at closing ceremonies to be quicker than they have been sometimes in the past. I think this year we did pretty good. He did pretty good with the box opening contest that he has. So I think as long as it isn't like too long, as long as it doesn't drag out, and that goes for everything, I think it's okay. Yeah. Somebody said get the full Cutie Mark Crusader crew in. Yeah, that'd be nice. Let's see. Here's an interesting comment. More unifying activity. The gala was great. I would like to see more everyone come together moments like that scheduled. Interesting. What could things like that be? I mean, the concerts. So this person is basically asking for larger events that everyone would come to. I'm gonna keep that in my mind. That's an interesting comment. Whose line is it anyway? Should take ideas from the actual audience, not from online. Definitely give that feedback to them, to Race and Saber. I imagine there's a reason that they do it online. Maybe it allows them to, maybe it makes. I would imagine doing it online and being able to go through the suggestions and kind of prepare in advance kind of makes the panel go smoother. As opposed to having to like stop and like get suggestions there live. But yeah, you'd have to let them. You'd definitely pass that suggestion along to them because that is their ball court. More production staff, like maybe a writer or two as guests, if Jim could come back and be interesting to hear about the back and forth process of turning a script into the show. I love having production guests. It's tough though because. And this is something I'm sort of low key trying to change, because the sort of the double-edged sword with production guests, the upside is that typically a lot of them they don't get to go to cons as much, if ever, and so when they do come, they tend to be, and I think this is most shown with Tori and Desiree that we just had, and Jim always, is that they're much more involved, they're much more excited to be there, they're enthusiastic, they're just like, yeah, this is great, I'm so lucky and thankful and happy that I'm here, and it just seems like that they are kind of, they're just excellent guests. I don't want to like compare them to like, other types of guests because, that's not really a fair comparison. But what I can definitely say about the production guests that I've worked with is that they are constantly excited and enthusiastic and just awesome guests. The other side of the sword, though, is that they don't sell badges like voice actors do. It's like, when we announce a voice actor of a pony, that's that person's, that's everybody's opportunity for them to meet the closest thing possible to these characters we've all fallen in love with for like the last 9 years. And so there's an emotional connection with getting to meet that voice actor. And so voice actors sell badges. You don't get that same effect when it comes to like the production staff, because even though they are just as responsible for the connections that we've all formed with these characters, it's not on the surface, it's not visible, and so it's unfortunately that doesn't translate into badge sales. So, but that's what I'm low key trying to change, is because I love inviting them because I want people to see more. Because before Cider Fest, I got some comments that said like, I'm disappointed with the lineup this year. Like, I'm disappointed you have like why are you inviting these like production guests? Like, you should invite more VAs. And then afterwards, it's just like, they were awesome. Like, these people are awesome. And so I'm working on trying to change like the understanding, the expectation of and the appreciation for production guests there. So, anyways, yes, I completely agree. I do still certainly have to bring VAs because again, they do sell badges. But yeah, let's see. Chat. Let's check in on chat. Nico, who is your favorite main character and background character? Personally, for me, Fluttershy is best pony. Background character probably Derpy if I had to pick one just off the top of my head. Rainbow Dash, Love Rocks, am I going to Everfree Northwest this year? Probably not. Scanning the chat for things that people said. When is the guest survey for Winnie City? Again, let's try to focus on Cider Fest for this, if we could, please. In fact, any questions about Winnie City, or any questions not specifically about Cider Fest, I'm just gonna bypass those just so we can stay focused here. We're an hour and a half in. I don't want this to be too much longer, but I want to make sure everyone gets their questions answered. Costa Bruni says, I like when a guest can do other things like Michelle Krieber and Willa, the Willa concerts or IDWs drawing all day. Yeah. The more different fun things people bring to a con, absolutely the better for sure. Corey Zilla Zombie Killer says, what was the situation with the overflow? I just remember seeing Close Exterminators being crowded and I didn't feel comfortable going in. I also kind of expected to have the overflow be used. Yeah, me too. I'll be perfectly honest. I did not find out until it was past the point of no return that AV had made the determination that the overflow couldn't happen, which was not a decision I was particularly thrilled with, but I guess there were technical reasons for that. And yeah. So one of the benefits of being in the Hilton is that with the more panel rooms, we'll be able to have a room set up where we can just have overflow planned in a room and have it be there. Hopefully, with the new, the larger main event space, it won't be a problem, because hopefully everybody will be able to get a seat that wants to see. But yeah, having the overflow be in a room that is set up with all the necessary AV equipment will apparently is what I have to do. Let's see. Waterboy 597. Actually, I'm not sure if this was answered or not. Will there be any alcohol provided and also variety of cider, including hard cider? It's Cider Fest. I mean, alcohol provided. I mean, that's not going to change. With what you're used to at Cider Fest at the Hyatt is going to be what you're used to at Cider Fest with the Hilton, as far as that's concerned. There's the hotel bar. I certainly intended to have the same kind of events like with the cider tasting, and the different times that hard cider and things like that are available at like the cash bar. In the various events, I intend to have all that be the same, so nothing's going to change there. Nico says, will Michelle Kraber and Black Griffin also be at Cider Fest? I would say so. I don't never say no, but I would say probably not. But you never know. I don't know. I haven't even started thinking about that yet. Let's see. I'm assuming beer won't be allowed to be brought outside the Miller Bar. Pretty much so. That situation should be the same as at the Hilton. As long as you purchased it at the hotel, they don't have a problem with you carrying it around. What you just can't do is you just can't just bring like a 6-pack of your own beer and just sit down and start drinking it in a room. Like that they are not okay with. That has always been the case, and that has not changed. Charlie cannot afford Hey Ocean. That is correct. I know it's early, but is there potential to have guests brought in that are part of the Pony Life series? I don't know what guests are part of the involved in Pony Life series, so I don't know how to answer that. Yeah. Let's see. Coaster Brony, how do you feel about everyone calling Cider Fest a drinking con? I hate it. I honestly, I mean, hate's a strong word, but I do not see Cider Fest as a drinking con. I see Cider Fest as a con where people drink. And what I mean by that is I want Cider Fest to be like, I don't want that to be the reason people come. Like on a whole, I'm sure some people will come for that reason, but I do think that there are other party cons where people go there and it's just like the expectation is that people are just like drinking all day long. And that's fine for them. I'm no judgment by any means, but I don't want that to be Cider Fest. Having Cider Fest, especially during the day, up until 8 o'clock, it's very important to me that it's family friendly. The show would not exist without the kid audience. I wish we had more of a kid presence than we do, but I haven't. There's probably more I could have done there from marketing and so on and so forth angle to help with that. But I wish that people would not refer to Cider Fest as a drinking con. I mean, like if that's what it is for them, then okay, fine. But I don't think that's what it is for everybody, and I don't want that to be what it is for everybody. And I say this as somebody who drinks, who is very, very well known as a huge craft beer drinker. That's not why I go there. I don't go there to drink. If I was just attending, I wouldn't go there to drink. I would drink, but that's not why I would go. And I think that is the important difference there. I want Cider Fest to be a con for everyone, including people who drink. I don't want it to be a drinking con. That's sort of my thoughts on the matter. Now, I have very little control over what the general public sees Cider Fest as. They will decide that it is what it is, and they will make it what it is. It's with everything the staff does, with everything the guest does, with everything the hotel does to make these conventions happen. That's probably 50% at the most, of what makes the convention. The attendees and everyone who comes makes up at the 50%, if not more. And they will make the con into what they make it into. And so, I can say all day long, I don't want it to be a drinking con. But if everybody comes and drinks, well, I suppose what I want is irrelevant because people have turned it into a drinking con. I just hope that doesn't happen. But yeah. Let's see. Looking at the chat again. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not a fan of people calling it a drinking con. Yeah, same. But yeah, just don't be stupid. Be respectful. Be responsible. But yeah. Brilliant Venture. As someone who doesn't drink, I actually don't feel that way about it at all. Yay! It didn't feel like a drinking con to me. It felt like a pony con and a hangout with good friends con. That's what I want. That's what I like to hear. Thank you very much. Let's see. Back to changing things for next year. Yep, Thursday pre-reg line. Yep, that's probably top on my list of things to fix. More badges. Okay. I'll touch on this. So somebody said more badges available for higher tiers and better communication on when they go on sale. I touched on this at the start of the call. I'll kind of go over it again. For communication on when they go on sale, what I try to do is I use Eventbrite to send out an email to everyone who is registered for the previous year's con to let them know the badges will be going on sale. I always make sure to announce them at the very least. Several days in advance, so people can see what the pricing is and see what the tiers are before they go on sale, so that they can, kind of decide what they want to get and be ready to make their purchase of whatever the on sale time is. In the past we've had like countdowns. We've certainly announced on social media when things are going to be going on sale. So I personally don't know what more we could do to inform people about when they're going on sale. We're posting on social media, we're sending out emails, we're putting up stuff on the website. I don't know what more I could do. I don't know where this person is looking, that they're expecting to see something that is not one of those places. But now to address the other side of this, more sponsor badges. So here's a little fun fact in terms of the number of sponsor badges that we make available versus the number of guests of honor that we have. So the single determining factor for the total quantity of sponsor badges that I can make available. Now, this is only talking about the total number of badges. There's other things that'll limit the number that can go into each tier, but I'll get to that in a second. So there is a direct relationship between the number of sponsor badges that I can sell and the number of guests of honor that I can invite. And the reason for that is the sponsored dinner. It is absolutely critical to me that every person who purchases a sponsor badge with the expectation of getting into that dinner and getting to sit down with the guests of honor, it is imperative to me that they get that. I know a lot of people do the sponsor badges. That is their main reason for getting a sponsor badge, and so I want to make sure we deliver on that particular perk. So the tables, those big round tables at the sponsor dinner, can seat 10 people comfortably. So that means for every table, I can have one guest of honor and 9 sponsors. So if I have 7 guests of honor, here this is not numbers we've had in the past, but just for easy math, if I have 10 guests of honor, if I have 10 tables, that means I can seat 100 people total. Obviously, 10 of those seats are taken up by the guests of honor themselves, which means that 90 seats are available for sponsors. That is the number of sponsor badges that I can sell. Now, typically for Winnie City, we have, I think, 6 guests of honor, and for Cider Fest, we have 8. There is a threshold for where so some people might say, well, why don't you just add another guest of honor, then you can sell more sponsor badges. Well, first of all, I need to be confident that I could sell all 9 of those sponsor badges to be able to pay for that additional guest of honor. And there's a threshold where we have a lot of the same people coming every single year. We have a lot of repeat attendees, and so I don't know the number off the top of my head, but a very good number of our sponsors traditionally have been repeat sponsors. And so if I were to just open up like 9 more across the board, I'm not entirely certain that I would be able to sell all 9 of those. And so then the cost of bringing in a guest of honor, that it may make it so that doesn't work out anymore. And now I might have put myself into a situation where, at least in this particular slice of finances, I now have lost money because I have now spent all this more money on bringing in this guest of honor, but I did not sell enough sponsor badges to make up for it. And so now it's kind of thrown things out of whack on that side of things. So that's So for example, for Winnie City this year, I kind of always base things on the previous year, and then I will adjust as things go. So last year we had 6 guests of honor for Winnie City, just for example's sake, and so this year I'm expecting 6 again. And so 6 guests of honor means a total of 60 seats available, with 6 of those obviously taken up by the guests, meaning that 54 seats are available for sponsors. So 54 sponsor badges were made available for Winnie City. Now, now things that can affect being able to change, to add a sponsor. First of all, if I sell all the sponsor badges really early on, and I can, adjust my plans early on enough to be able to make a difference, that increases the likelihood of being able to add a 7th guest, because then I can kind of adjust things and make sure all the numbers match up and everything. Also, selling out sooner kind of tells me that, okay, there's a higher possibility that there's more people that wanted one, versus kind of like them trickling out and kind of coming close to selling out at the very end. That's less confidence, and I'm going to be able to all of a sudden sell a whole bunch more. The other thing that affects especially the higher tier badges is, the one thing that we like to have is the exclusive event that the top 1 or 2 tiers only get into. And the simple, the simple thing there is that I don't want that to be too crowded. I want that to be an intimate exclusive event. And so typically what I do there is I have a total of 20 badges available, so that, that there's only 20 sponsors that can get into whatever the special event ends up being with however many guests that there are, and that is done specifically so that that event isn't oversaturated with like too many people, because that takes away from the exclusiveness and the specialness of it. So that's a whole bunch of inside baseball as to why there are the number of sponsor badges we have, and yada yada yada. Throat's getting sore. So hopefully that answered your question, whoever that was. It's been so long, I don't remember. But let's see. Looking over chat again. Bump your questions up if I haven't answered them yet. Nico asks, when will the Cider Fest website be updated for 2020? Probably after Winnie City. I don't have anything to put on it right now. So, so yeah, I'll leave the current stuff up there just in case people want to get back on there to see last year's stuff. But otherwise, after Winnie City, we basically try and run cycles. So when one con ends between Winnie City and Cider Fest, then we start working on the next one. There has to be some overlap just because hotels need to be booked farther in advance and yada yada yada. But yeah, almost always the answer to the question is when will stuff for this con start? The answer is when the stuff for the previous con before it ends between the other one. Let's see. Jacqueline says, a little selfish, but what if you opened up badge sales a little earlier for repeat sponsors? Well, the one thing I do for sponsors is I do give them a little bit more notice in terms of when the badges are going to be going on sale, and when and what the tiers are going to be, and so on and so forth. So sponsors do get information a little bit sooner than the others. As far as opening them up for actual sale, I don't know. That's hard. I don't know. I absolutely love our sponsors. We could not exist without them, but I don't want the favoritism to swing too far towards them. So yeah, that's a tricky one. Let's see. Coaster Brony, you can always archive some of the website like with Cider Fest 18. Yes, I could, but I don't have time to do that right now. So let's see. I mean, I will archive the 19 site, but replacing it with 2020 stuff, I don't have anything to put up there yet. So, Taylor, so you advise we buy a sponsor badge on the day registration opens for Cider Fest? The vast majority of badges sold out in the first 24 hours. So yes, I do advise that. Patron badges, so just in case anyone is unclear, we have regular badges, and we have patron badges, then we have sponsor badges. I have recently learned that may be opposite for some people who are used to the FurryCon way of doing things. For them, patrons are above sponsor in the hierarchy, but to be clear, that is not the way it is for us. We have patrons, and then we have sponsor badges at the top. So patrons, especially the first tier of patron badge, that one doesn't sell out. Like, that one only sells out if the con sells out. And the reason for that is I'm basically just pre-selling merch. I will pre-sell merch all day long because that makes it so I can order more and it makes it cheaper. So like whatever the entry level patron badge is, that will never sell out. So you guys can just know that. Unless the entire con sells out, which is an entirely different conversation. The others, every other badge does have the possibility of selling out, though. Blackjack, is there going to be an after hours vendor hall? At this stage, I will continue doing the after hours hall until somebody ruins it, and that's a simple answer for that. So as long as nobody ruins it for everyone else, then at this current point in time, the vendors love it. It brings in the con a little bit more money because we charge the vendors for the tables in there. So I don't have a reason to not do it at this point. Personal feelings towards the subject matter aside, at this point, it makes business sense to keep doing it. So we will keep doing it until somebody ruins it. What was my favorite part of this last year's Cider Fest? Probably the bottle share I had with Pixel Kitties. That was a really good time. Yeah, just off the top of my head, that would be my knee-jerk answer. Fair Twigs, Charlie, are you getting enough rest between cons? I know that you're working your flanks off with each con, and I want to make sure you're doing okay. I'm I'm standing. Well, currently I'm sitting, but yeah, I appreciate the concern. I am maybe the the uh, the honest truth is that I'm probably resting a little bit too much right now. Stuff with Winnie City is behind where it's supposed to be, and that is 100% my fault. Um, the last year absolutely drained me. I'm not gonna lie. Between doing all three cons last year, I absolutely I was. I'll tell you guys, I was this close to being like completely burned out, and just like finding the motivation to like get things going for Winnie City. Like I was just so tired and so exhausted, and just like so just internally sick of like running cons. Like I kind of had to. I really I needed to take some more time for myself than usual, and fortunately for me, unfortunately for Winnie City 2020, I found a excellent escape for myself and a way and in the form of Death Stranding, the PlayStation 4 video game. That game was absolutely made for my particular flavor of OCD and ADHD. I'm over 100 hours into that game, and I'm only on like chapter 6. It sucks my soul in, and it sucks my time up, and I love doing it so much, and it's so relaxing and so therapeutic for me. But dear God, is stuff with Winnie City behind. The con isn't in trouble. Nobody panic. Things are just starting later than they should. Everything is going to end when it normally does, and so everything will be fine. Just the application windows are open less than they usually are. Yeah, so I am taking enough time for myself right now, quite possibly too much. I need to sort of pull myself back into productivity mode and get working on stuff. So yeah. Let's see. Let me scroll up a little bit here. Okay, at this stage, do me a favor. Make sure to tag Cider Fest for any questions. That way I can see the tag and make sure that I see the questions. Like Nolan did here, Colin Brown asked about a GGG ticket swap option. So, no, because like I mentioned before, the ticket price for the gala pays for the food. And so if I allowed you to trade your ticket for something else there, then that it would have to be something. Frankly, if I were to allow you to trade your gala ticket for something else, it would have to be something that didn't cost me anything. Because at this point, I've already paid for the food, and I kind of need that money to pay for the food. So, yeah, it would endanger the possibility of the gala continuing as it does if I were to offer that option. I think is the short answer there. Let's see. Yes, 2 cons a year is enough for me. I think after I'm back into my groove here, I think after Winnie City, because the other thing that hurt me a little bit is that Cider Fest was later than usual, and Winnie City is earlier than usual, so I only have my full 6 months window between Cider Fest 19 and Winnie City 20. But once I get through Winnie, and then I have a nice long period to plan Cider Fest 20, and so yeah, I think at that point I'll be back in a good cycle and swing of things. Balto, out of curiosity, is there an attendance cap? If so, what is it? I mean, there has to be an attendance cap because of fire codes. I don't think it's something we are anywhere near in danger of hitting. At the Hyatt, at the Hilton. Dang it, at the Hilton. I don't think it's something. Blah, words out of my mouth. I don't think it's something we are in danger of hitting at the Hilton, because their capacity is similar to the Hyatt, and the Hyatt, from a fire codes perspective, we could have been twice as big as we have been, just in terms of capacity and all that. That's maxing. That's to the point where we've turned into LineCon, but it's not something I want, to be very, very clear. Yeah, we definitely have headroom to grow. So I don't think the con selling out is a realistic possibility. At least, yeah. So yeah. Let's see. Once again, bump your questions, everyone, please. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark. So if you have anything that you haven't that hasn't been answered, please re-ask. And if you tag Ponyville Cider Fest. That'll make it so I can see it easier. Let's see. Brent says, what about trading off getting a plushie for autograph vouchers maybe or something else? The problem with plushies is we put a lot of thought into actually offering that for Winnie City. And the issue is that the plushies I've already paid for. So I sort of count on moving them and sort of getting rid of them and getting the money back that I've already paid for them. And so kind of continuing for people to kind of pick them up and everything, it's money that I've already spent. So it's kind of the same thing of being able to offer like an autograph voucher or something, or like a con store credit was like another idea that was talked about in terms of in replacement of someone getting a plushie. You know, that's additional money that is coming out of the con's pocket because I've already paid for the plushie, and there's no guarantee that somebody's going to buy it. And so giving away a $20 autograph voucher, that's even more money. So yeah, I sort of need to count on moving the plushies. Let's see. Beta Wolves, do you have any immediate answers on how you're planning to make the charity auction run faster? So, to be very clear, the auction at Cider Fest 19 absolutely could have ended on time. We had to drag it out for, again, reasons that I can't get into. But there was just a reason why we had to stretch the auction out, because certain people that needed to be at closing ceremonies were not going to be able to be there, and we didn't want to just have like a long gap. Closing ceremonies was going to be late no matter what, so we just drug out the auction to keep so that there would be something happening all the way up until closing ceremonies. It's complicated, and I'm sorry I can't get into it more. It's a sensitive topic, but yeah. Get the Hyatt out of my head. I'm so used to saying Hyatt. I've been saying Hyatt since like 2015, so it's going to be hard. Let's see. When will tickets to Cider Fest 2020 be available to purchase? After Winnie City. So basically, just give away the plushies we get because we don't need any more plushies. I mean, you know, whatever you want to do with them. It's entirely your call. Okay, everybody re-up your questions. Let me pull up this. Oh, no, don't reload. Oh, no. That's going to take forever. Okay. Let's see. What else? Give me your questions, people. What else you want to know? What else you want to talk about? What else you want to let me know about Cider Fest that you want changed or think should be changed, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let me know what you think. Let me kind of scroll through the chat here a little bit and see if I've missed anything. Thanks everybody who's hung out, and I love seeing that people are interested in knowing this stuff. Bottle Share 2020. I sure hope so. I think. Yeah, as long as the hotel continues to let us do it, I mean, especially if Pixel's there, I think that's a no-brainer. Pixel's not able to come for whatever reason. I would feel a little less. I don't know, right? I don't want to say right. That's not the right word. I think having me and Pixel there, I think it makes a lot of sense to do it. And I don't know if it's just me, if enough people would be interested. Yeah. Anyways. But I certainly would like to. We're just continuing to fine tune the formula on how we do it, just because I don't want it to be too crowded. I need to re-emphasize the one thing I need to fix from the bottle share from this year is making sure people understand how much to bring. When people are showing up with like bagfuls of beer, or like 6-packs or 12-packs of like good beer. I mean, a lot of people brought a really great stuff, but people brought too much, and so I just need to reemphasize the curation and how much people should be bringing, because God, there was so much beer there. What do I want to see different at Cider Fest? I mean, wow, that's boy, that's a great question. I tell you what, I definitely want Cider Fest to continue. I want it to keep going. First of all, I mean, I think that probably goes without saying, but I definitely don't want it to stop. I want it to keep going, and so for that to happen, I I wanted to continue to innovate. I wanted to continue to be different every year while still having the same, core. I wanted to, each year to be a really unique experience, to have something special, and so people can, when you can think back about like, oh, what year did this happen? It's really easy because every year was so different. It's like when you have the Halloween year, we have the Oktoberfest year, we have the music year, we have the holiday year. I mean, like they're very, the themes aren't just outfits on the mascots. Like they're very they're very involved, detailed themes that go into more than just like the design aspects. Like we have panels surrounding them, especially with stuff like the music events and like the cosplay events from next year. I mean, like they're going to be very, the hey buddy, it's they're going to be very, very closely and directly related to all the convention, and so I want people to be able to remember that stuff. So I want that to continue. Yeah, I just but as far as like what to change, or what would I want to be different? Gosh, I don't know. I don't have a quick answer for that. I'm sorry. If something will pop into my head, I'll let you know. Yes, Felix is here. Hey, buddy. Anyways, let's see here. Soviet Rusalka, thoughts on getting voice actors from the show that aren't as popular as main voice actors? Perhaps voice actors that aren't in a lot of the episodes from the show. I mean, yeah, absolutely. We do that. I think fairly often with bringing in smaller, lesser known, whatever voice actors. I think people, to be perfectly frank about it, I think people should get used to the idea of there being a fairly high number of cons without a main six voice actor. I mean, like as great as the main six VAs are, we can't keep inviting the same 2, 3, 4 people to every single con, especially with a group that runs 2 a year. And even with the extended, main 7, main 8, whatever you want to call them, characters like Rebecca and Kelly. We just can't keep inviting the same people, and so like inviting lesser known voice actors like you're talking about is going to be a natural progression of keeping things different and keeping things interesting. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, Winnie City 2 years ago, when we invited Caitlin Bairstow and Ian Hanlon out, I mean, those are 2 people like that they had never been to a PonyCon before. I mean, Caitlin, she was an amazing guest, and she at the time had a total of I think like 2 lines ever in the series. So I'm all about inviting lesser known VAs out, because they kind of fit into that same description of what I was saying before about production staffers. It's like they don't get to do this a lot, and so they're just super enthusiastic about being able to do it, and they quite often make for really great guests. And so yeah, absolutely. Let's see. So like, oh yeah, Brent just reminded me, like having Raquel out, the voice of Kerfuffle from Rainbow Road Trip. I mean, it's like a one character that was in one TV movie. We're bringing her out to Winnie City. And it's gonna be her first PonyCon, I believe. And so yeah, no, all about bringing out lesser known voice actors, absolutely, all day long. Let's see. Like Lena Hall. Lena Hall's hard because we've never had her as a guest, but I did meet her at BronyCon last year. By last year I mean 2018, and she's I got to talk to her, and she seems like a very cool person. However, because she's incredibly busy with her music and everything, I'm not sure that she would be able to commit to coming out for an entire weekend. So yeah, Lena Hall's somebody I'd love to have at some point, but I think I anticipate it would be more complicated than your usual guests. Earthstar, we should all wear Charlie beards one year. Don't do that. Don't do that. Let's see. Just bring in Weird Al. Yeah, right. Weird Al is famously listen. No BronyCon, no My Little PonyCon, including BronyCon, ever had a chance of bringing in Weird Al. That's just how expensive that he is. To bring in Weird Al would cost and this is Googleable information, so I'm not like exposing anything here. But like the research that I did just to look into seeing how much it would cost to bring him out, it would be twice the entire guest budget or something like that for like Cider Fest. So yeah, it's just Weird Al, as great as it would be, is never going to happen. Let's see. A way to change the auction so we don't have to be running back and forth. It is hard on a walker. Running back and forth. I'm not sure what that means. Yeah, RE Coyote. I'm not. Can you clarify what you mean by running back and forth at the auction? I know when you win something, you have to go pay for it. If you have ADA issues, then possibly we could have the person paying come to you. But that would be the only thing I could think of that you could be referring to there. I've heard great things about Maurice LaMarche, Costa Brony, as being a guest at the con. He's somebody that I think is somebody that is probably going to be considered at some point. Excuse me. Let's see. Can't they come for free? No, they don't come for free. They work for them. What about Tara Strong and Ashley Ball? Ashley Ball is so the issue with Tara and Ashley is that they're both incredibly busy people. Ashley is very busy with her music and her other things, and then Tara is just very busy with voice acting and other conventions and so on and so forth. So neither of them are impossible to get. They're not. I don't think either of them have like sworn off doing PonyCons. But between their availability and what they do charge, it's hard. It'll be very hard. Yeah, the Hollywood voice actors like Emily Blunt, Kristen Chenoweth, Michael Pena, like general guest fee economics. Basically, voice actors are it's one thing, but as soon as somebody becomes a screen actor and people know their face, then just like with the way that things work, that puts them into like a whole other big upper bracket in terms of what they're able to charge for appearance fees. And so anybody that's actually been on screen, like in Hollywood or whatever, and anything like that, like they are just way out of the range of what I could ever hope to afford. Let's see. So yeah, okay, I've got my list back up here. Scrolling. Okay, back to if we could change one thing for next year, what could it be? Let's see if we can find anything else fun in here. A quiet room for folks to get overwhelmed, overstimulated. This is something that we've talked about having multiple times. We just didn't, we made use of every single room that we had at the Hyatt. So at the Hilton, with the more spaces that we have, that's definitely something that will be considered. Absolutely. A little option for food at or near the venue. That's, with the Miller Time Pub, if just for one example, I mean, that's certainly something that you'll have at the Hyatt. Hilton, it's it's not going to stop. Cost of parking, but that seems fixed. I would agree. A longer My Little Karaoke panel. 5 hours ain't enough. Tell that to the hosts. I think they have other things they want to be doing. But karaoke hosts, just so you know, people want more than 5 hours apparently. More cosplay events. Well, we certainly will have that fixed for next year, won't we? More open communities guests that include staff like BronyCon does, but also, sorry, I have to start this one over. More open communities guests that include staff like BronyCon does, but also more community guests from all over. I mean, we have a lot of community guests, so just saying have more. I mean, okay. I mean, there's a point where you have too many. I mean, like, comparing the number of guests we have to the number of guests BronyCon does is not a fair comparison. They're 10 times our size. So, at least they were in 2019. Let's see. Do pre-reg fixes, absolutely. No music in the vendor hall. I'm at the point where I'm done hearing people just blasting music. Makes it hard to talk to customers. I was in the vendor hall several times. I never noticed music being incredibly loud, but I will mention that to Screwloose for sure. If it's possible, perhaps move the after hours vendor hall to a larger space. The problem, again, at the Hyatt was that the larger space was the like we only had the 3 panel rooms to work with. So putting in a larger space, like we still want to have programming, we still want to have events going on, and so we didn't want to take away our biggest panel room to be able to have the after dark hall. So, but again, at the new space, there should be some more flexibility there. Clarify the differences between sponsor and patron badges. I wasn't aware there was a difference between them when I bought my patron badge and tried to get into a sponsors only event. I mean, the individual perks are listed out on the website under everything, and there's a grid that tells you like what comes with each badge. So I'm not sure what else I could do there. Like at the entire reason why just for some history, the entire reason why the patron tier was created in the first place was because of this. It used to be that there were only sponsor badges. And so, like for Cider Fest, for example, like there was Spike sponsor, and then Super Sparkle sponsor, and they were all just called sponsor badges. However, some things that were called sponsor events, like the sponsor dinner, not all sponsors could get into. Like the Spike sponsor badge couldn't get into the sponsor dinner, and it was like that for the first couple of years. And I think people could very easily see how that could be confusing. So that's why we renamed some of the tiers into patron badges. And so, if it's a sponsor event, sponsors get into it. Like the word patron is not the word sponsor. So like the entire reason why that was created was so it'd be very clear. Like if your badge doesn't have the word sponsor on it, you are not a sponsor. Like I don't know how much clearer that could be. The person who wrote this offer me a solution. Like let me know what could be done to make this clear, because with the perks being individually listed out under every badge, with providing a comparison grid in terms of like what comes with each, and with the very clear terminology between a patron and a sponsor, let me know what else I could do, because I don't know what else I could possibly do to make things clearer there. I don't know. Okay. Maybe more panels to help facilitate bronies connecting socially with other fans they've never met before, group discussions, group games, etc. Yada yada yada. So I need people to submit those panels. For those who don't realize this, the convention doesn't create the panels that all these people run. We are in charge of things, the obvious things like opening and closing ceremonies, the guest of honor events and stuff like that. But other than that, we rely on people submitting panels like this. So I would love for people to submit panels like this, but if people don't, I can't make them up. You know what I mean? So as much as I love this suggestion, it's sort of out of our control. Let's see. If there's a script reading, I'd prefer it be Saturday. It typically is. This year we just changed it because of the the extra long episode screening right before it. Having the 3-part episode screening go right into the script reading, that just would have been a lot. And so that's why we moved the script reading to Sunday this year. This year was an exception there. More food options, maybe a list of restaurants around the hotel in the con book. We've talked about this, but we tried it with Winnie City a couple times, but then we made the list, and then between when we made the list and the con, like a couple restaurants opened and a couple other restaurants closed. And what we came down to is, 99% of people have Google Maps in their pocket, and that's going to be more reliable than any list we could put in the con book and more useful. So we sort of just figured, like, if people want to know this, they would just pull out their phones. I mean, it's a lot of work for something that is already in everyone's pockets. So that's why we don't really have that. Somebody said change the Celestial exclusive event to something else. I mean, it's different every year, so no problem there. Somebody said the gala should be different, but they didn't say how, so I'm not sure what more information there would have been helpful. Let's see. Earlier access and information about alcohol-related activities. Get a sponsor or patron badge because those people get first dibs on those tickets. As far as access and earlier access. Like everyone gets it at the same time in terms of general attendees, and then the patrons. I made up a new word. Patrons and sponsors get advance access as one of their perks. So. And then information. We announce it as soon as we're ready to announce it. So, yeah. Too many bad stripes? Get rid of the patrons, bring back the Spike sponsor? It's just a terminology change. Like what the Spike sponsor got versus what the Spike patron got. They get the same thing. So I'm not sure why this person would be upset about the terminology changing. I would need more information there. Let's check in on the chat here. Again, I'm looking for tags for Cider Fest just because there's a lot of chat. If you have any questions, make sure to tag Cider Fest because then I'll see it a lot easier. Jenny Fraser asks, is the gala still going to have food with the hotel change? Yes, absolutely. We have to do that because ordering all that food is part of our contract with the hotel. That's part of how we pay for the space is ordering all that food. So yeah. Let's see. Have the auction be part regular auction and part silent auction. The smaller items could be all up in the weekend right up until the auction, and larger auctions could be in the main auction. If we ran into a situation where we thought we had too much and the auction would have to go over, I think we probably would do that. I don't think that's a problem we've really had before. The times where the auction has gone over, it's either, like I said, this year because we had to artificially make it go over because of reasons, or other years. I think it just was more on the auctioneer's part of taking a little too long as opposed to having too much. If we had too much, I think we'd probably put some stuff into a silent auction. Yeah. This can't be changed for 2020, but for the future, it might be nice to have the con a weekend before or after Halloween. If this can't be done, it's understandable. Yeah, that's just sort of our window. But yeah, I'm sure it won't always be on Halloween weekend. Questions. Let's see. Doughboy, far-fetched idea, but maybe VAs from other countries. Problem there is flights. International flights are stupid expensive, and so it just it would have to be somebody that I felt was popular enough with American audiences to sell badges to make up for the increased flight costs there. Yeah, it would just depend. I don't know if they're like off the top of my head, the only non-English voice actor that I can think of is Annalie Heed, I don't even know any others off the top of my head, so I just don't know. Bear Twigs, expanding on that, VAs from other fandoms. I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think we need to do that. I think that's something that we would look into if we felt that we had to, because interest in Pony was going away. But I think for the most part, the majority of people, if I were to invite a voice actor that is not from Pony, I think the vast majority of reaction to that would be, why did you invite them instead of inviting this other person, like somebody from Pony who I haven't met before? Like, I feel like we would either need to exhaust like our options of like kind of go through all the Pony people to start looking at other directions, which is would take decades, or for interest in Pony to go away to the point where we felt like we had to start to incorporate other fandoms. I don't think I don't have any interest in going that direction personally. Let's see. So yeah, once again, if you have any questions, please tag Cider Fest and put them in the chat. I think a platform for some kind of panelists to be easily elevated on would be a fantastic and easy thing to do. Yes, that is there was supposed to be one in every room this year. There was not, and it would have been too complicated to change once we, I guess, noticed or whatever. So there was supposed to be. Maybe arrange the schedule so the panels don't overlap so much if possible. I often worry it looks rude to the panelists when I'd leave a panel halfway through to go to another event that I really didn't want to miss. I mean, that's sort of the nature of things. You know, if we had panels not overlapping, that means we'd have less panels. And as shown in the results at the start of the feedback stream, it seems like most people are happy with the variety and with the amount of options, and so I think pulling back on the number of panels that we have, I think would be against what the majority of attendees are looking for. Don't cater the gala. Okay, so I'll touch back on this. So somebody suggested don't cater the gala, make it free for anyone to attend. So a little more inside baseball. So part of the way that our contract works out with the venue is that we have something called a food and beverage minimum. And so in terms of and this is how we pay for using the hotel for the weekend. There's two ways of doing it. We can either go to the hotel, we can give them a bunch of money, we can say, and just rent the space and be done with it. Or, and not every venue does this, but all the ones that we've worked with do this, is instead of just giving them money to rent the room, we can basically promise or guarantee that we're going to spend X amount of dollars on food and beverage. And the kind of things that contribute towards food and beverage are the food that goes to the gala, to the sponsor dinner, all of the drinks that you guys buy at the cash bars that they have in the gala and in the concert, in the sponsor dinner, and then in the in various places like that. Not at the actual hotel bar, that doesn't count. I'm talking about the little temporary pop-up bars that they put. Those all count. And anything like that, anything that comes from the hotel staff, that all contributes towards food and beverage. And and the sponsor lounge too at Cider Fest, all that food goes towards food and beverage. And so we have a minimum dollar amount, and I'm talking thousands of dollars here, that we agree to pay. And to us, we can, these are events, these are things we want to do anyways, and so why would we pay, I'm making up numbers here, this is not, these are not real numbers, but why would we pay $10,000 to rent the space and then go and pay $5,000 for a sponsor dinner, the open bar at the cocktail hour, okay, that's another $2,000. You're paying twice, but instead we can just promise them we're going to do all this money, and then you're paying that once. So we count on having all that food and beverage sold at the gala that the tickets pay for, to be able to go towards our food and beverage minimum. If we didn't have the gala, we would still have to have all that food and beverage spent somewhere else. And I don't have anywhere to do that. There are no other events where I could order in that amount of food and have it make sense. So that's why the gala will never be a free gala. That's just for everyone, because we rely on having on ordering that food from the kitchen, and I got to pay for it somehow. So that's why all that is the way it is. Ari Cody, running back to pay and then return to your seat. That may not be there when you get back. I would say hopefully people are respectful enough that if you get up to pay for an option, they'll hold their seat for you. Hopefully that's something that people would do. But for anyone with ADA or mobility issues, I would imagine that they could bring it to you to pay. I'm not sure how else to approach that. Joke request, rent an actual pony for the kids to pet and ride. I think that was looked at, but there's animal code, health stuff. Anyways. Cooliosis 1, does the food thing pay for the entire venue, or is there rent on top of that? In our particular contracts, we don't, so for Cider Fest in Winnie City, we don't have any rent that we pay. We have a guarantee for food and beverage, and then we have a guarantee for the number of rooms that get rented. That's how the hotel makes their money. We don't have a room fee on top of that. I did have a room fee at MLP MSP because of the economics of that hotel are different. And that was the most expensive. That was the most expensive hotel bill I've ever had, which is a perfect example of this entire situation because I had to pay rent and then I had to do the food and beverage on top of it, and it was like almost double what I'm used to. Which is why there were only 4 guests at that con. But yeah, no, at Windy City and at Cider Fest, we don't have any room rental fees. We only have food and beverage, and then the room block guarantees. Jenny Miller, I was so happy that people who did attend the gala this year said it was the best yet. Oh, awesome, good. Food, beverage, food, music, etc. went amazing, by the way, for people who actually came. That's great to hear. Awesome, Jenny. Thanks for saying that. Okay. Okay, so it's about 10:30. We've been running 2.5 hours. I'm going to do a last call for questions, just because I don't want to run this thing forever. There's a whole lot more information in the survey here, but a lot of it would take like analysis and time to go through and like really parse. But going through like the initial things about just general things that people didn't like as suggestions, I think that's where a lot of the value is. So that's why I focused on that. And I think probably it got that. Looking at those things prompted conversations around a lot of the things that people would want to talk about anyway. So hopefully that, hopefully you guys enjoyed some of the information I got from that. We will be going over, I've already distributed the full results of the survey to the managers so they could parse it and look for stuff specific to their departments. We use the results of the feedback from the panels to help guide us on what to approve for the next year, and maybe panels, should be in bigger or smaller rooms, just depending on all that. So yeah, it's there's a lot. The information on the survey does get put to a lot more use than just talking about it on the stream. It's not like we just talk about it and then we just go away. Like it does get looked at and put to use. So yeah. But yeah, so thanks everyone for filling out the survey. Really do appreciate it. Thanks everyone for hanging out on the stream. Once again, last call for questions. And I'm going to look at the chat here and see what we got. But we like talking to you. I like talking to you too, but my voice is starting to get sore, and it's also 10:30 on a Sunday, and I have to be at work early. So, Coliosa says, ever consider plugging the Discord more, like putting it on the banners, telling people at the con, announcement and event updates will be posted there, etc. I guess I could do that. It seems like it's pretty active in there, so I don't really have the impression that it's under promoted. But I guess promoting it more wouldn't be a bad thing. 1964 Corvan, can there be more live stream chats like this in the future, as these are fun? Sure, I guess. If you guys like this kind of thing, I could certainly do something like that. I have to think about like when and all that fun stuff, but yeah. Tonic Spirits, would it be logistically feasible to offer volunteer options that require less than 20 hours? I mean, so then the question becomes, for staff volunteers, for the 20 hours of time put in over the entire course of the weekend, you get badge and staff shirt, which you have to have, and the option for discounted room block, which is kind of an add-on perk. But yeah, so the question would be, is if for those who work less than 20 hours, what do they not get? Because there has to be fair. For the people who put in the 20 and people who put in 10, for example, like it wouldn't be fair for them to get the same thing. So what would people who work 10 hours, for example, get less than the people who work 20? Well, they have to have a badge. So, I mean, like, I guess, well, they have to have a staff shirt, because if you're on staff, you have to have a staff shirt. Saying that you don't have access to the room block, I guess, could potentially be something, but that's not really a lot of people don't take advantage of that anyway, so that's not really, taking that away doesn't really help the convention at all, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't make it really, that's a bad way of putting it. For the people who work the 20, like simply saying somebody doesn't have access to the room block, I mean, I don't think that's that much of a difference, really. So the only other thing would be the badge. And so the question would then be, is then their badge is either half price or their badge isn't comped. They just get a staff shirt and, and the credit for helping out, which then I think kind of makes calling them staff not really worth it. I don't know. So I think the answer to your question is, as I've kind of thought through it and talked it out, is I think no. For asking somebody to put in 20 hours over the weekend, I think that's I don't think there's a lower tier that would make sense below that. Let's see. Fair Twigs, all I can say is keep up the con. Going to its best potential. I'll be going to the very end. Appreciate that. Thanks very much. Doughboy says, don't remember if you answered this, would it be too expensive to have panelists choose to have staff record or even live stream their panels? So the intention at every single con has always been to record and or live stream every panel. We bought a bunch of Mevo live stream cameras for that very purpose, and a lot of them are recorded. The live stream depends on the hotel internet. We all know how great, I say sarcastically, hotel internet is. And then beyond that, it's just a matter of having staff to run the cameras. So, I mean, like, I would love to have every single event at every single con documented with certain, exceptions, but it just depends on having the technology cooperating, and then also having the staff to run them. So, I mean, is it possible? Yes. Is it something I can guarantee? Unfortunately not. I mean, if you go on this YouTube channel, you can find stuff that was live streamed from previous cons. It's just not something we were able to do every time, unfortunately. Okay, final call. Looks like, hi, Pinky Mouse. Yep, we're just wrapping up. Looks like all the questions have been answered. So if anyone has any questions that didn't get answered, please put them into Discord. Feel free to tag me. I can respond there. I do try and pay attention to at the very least, I pay attention to tags on Discord. So if you ever have anything that you want to make sure that I see, make sure to tag me. A lot of things, it gets really noisy. A lot of times I do try and kind of read everything that happens in there, except for the chit chat channel. I don't pay attention to that super much, but at least in the convention channels, I try and pay attention to everything. But when they get super chatty, I don't have time to read everything always. So if you want to make sure I see something, make sure to tag me. Aside from that, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for all your feedback. Thanks for all the information. We will put it to good use, I promise. As far as anybody who's looking forward to Winnie City, that ball is rolling. I know it looks slower, looks like it's rolling slowly, but it is rolling, I promise you. And I look forward to seeing everybody that can make it out to Schaumburg at the end of March for Winnie City 2020, and then hopefully everybody to come back to Cider Fest at our new home at the Hilton for Cider Fest 2020. Did I say? I think I may have meant to say Winnie City 2020 before I may have said Cider Fest. I don't remember. I'm tired. My throat is sore. Thanks very much. I'm making up more words. I'm gonna call it. Okay. Thanks everybody. Have a good night. And I'll see you around.